Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. TGIF. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Of course, you can see the thumbnail here. We have a story. Taylor Nolan cancels white women. What? I'll play her 3.5-minute long clip. We'll talk about it. We'll get into all that jazz. Here's what I'm going to ask you guys. Just do me a favor. Pump the brakes and let's not fuel any hatred we ever see online with more hatred, okay? Let's just, do what they do in the South where they just say, bless your heart, right? So bless your heart, Taylor. And again, maybe she's got some points. I'm going to take notes. I haven't listened to the video yet. So I found this on Bachelor_accountability. I'm yet to make an opinion on this Instagram account. I don't know too much about it, but they say they are there to sort of call out clout chasers and people that are grifters and all that. I personally have no problem with former alumni using their influence within the Bachelor world. So they called out Katie Thurston for posting about Blake Moynes, and they said because now her season is over, she needs the attention to keep coming. Yeah, I mean it's her business. It's a business. You've exposed yourself to the nation with your sex and dating life. And that's where you're at now. She's not going to go back to being a bank manager. So I have no problem with that. Now, of course, if you're grifting in the sense that you're preaching things that you don't personally believe to profit from and stoking fear and hatred and divide, well, that has a greater consequence. And I don't know that Katie's doing that. I would actually say, of course, she's not doing that. She's not doing that at all. If anything, she's kind of working into the direction of like sort of normalizing being friends with your exes and other people that were on the TV show. But that's not what this story is about. Okay, this story is about, so there's Bachelor Accountability's page, cancel culture. I, for one, hate the term cancel culture, which I know I've used in this thumbnail right here. Where's my Harry Potter wand? I've used Taylor cancels white women. I don't like cancel culture. I don't think it's a good way to describe accountability as it exists within the social media world and the world in general. But we'll get into this video right here. Let's listen to it. I'll pause if need be, but I think I'm going to play it in its full. And also, Bachelor Accountability posts a summation, which obviously is going to be biased. It's going to be, what they think she said. Let's just listen to what she said, and then we'll see if we agree or disagree with their opinion, okay? Here's Taylor Nolan venting in her car. And apparently this is from 2 days ago. I truly apologize if I'm wrong, but I believe this is from 2 days ago.
It has just been like mosquito bite after mosquito bite after mosquito bites of like white privilege, of racism, of caucasity, of all of it. And like my brain and my heart and my entire body is over it. So I don't care. So I'm going to just speak specifically to like online. If I get another DM from a white woman telling me that I'm complaining about my house, it's just an immediate block. I do not care for your toxic positivity. I do not care if my content makes you feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable from what I share, the slivers of what I share, small slivers of things that I do decide to share about my life and my thoughts on this platform. And I think what I'm sitting with the most that is really just frustrating for me today is like the consistent attempt to dehumanize Black people and specifically Black.
Well, okay, so before she gets into Black people, let's just cut it along the lines of her. I think she has a fine and fair grievance that she's going to block people. She said white women specifically, but people, white women, that tell her, oh, you need to be more positive, you can't complain. Look, she can do whatever the hell she wants to do with her social media, okay? If she wants to talk about the trials and tribulations of being a new homeowner, talking about how expensive it can be to redo the kitchen sink, and obviously she's, through her own past actions, through her own accountability of what she had tweeted and it has been exposed of her in the past, probably lost a great deal of her own income, her own following, fan base, Venmo, Patreon, OnlyFans, whatever the hell she's got going on. So maybe money is tighter where she is. This is part of the problem that I have with what we call cancel culture. Is it's a zero-sum game. Everyone's just going to dig out everyone else's closet skeletons from their closet until we're all just exposing each other for being coming from places of our own ignorance, right? Now, anyway, before she makes this more of a race thing, because right now she's complaining about the white women specifically talking to her. Race is more of a generalized thing. When she talks about white women doing things to all black women, that's a different conversation than to her specifically. When she talks about that, I agree with that initial statement that, like, if you don't like what I'm doing, bug off. Absolutely. Keep going.
Black women, that you're not allowed to just be human. You're not allowed to have a bad day. You're not allowed, like, you're not seen as a full individual that you are. And for so long, I would, like, try to be nice. Try to hear and be like, oh, maybe they're right. I have thrown in the towel. I will be mean to you. If you DM me some disrespectful ass shit and you are a white woman, I do not give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm done. I'm over it. I will tell you to shut the fuck up. Or I will straight up block you.
I would suggest just blocking the person. It seems to be a lot of work to deal with haters like that. Now, I'll respond to everyone once in a while on my YouTube. It's good for the algorithm. But if it's done behind closed doors, just block them, Taylor. You know what I mean?
Honestly. Because I just am like, who do you think that you are? I will share this too, because I know there are other biracial mixed people here who will relate to it, even though white people will probably try to use it against me at some point. But for so long in my life, like unintentionally, unconsciously, I tried to seek that white approval. I was seeking the likeness of white people. I wanted to, tend to all of the discomfort that my presence, my existence would have brought up for them.
Okay, so before she continues, this is a good point. And again, Dave, you're interrupting. Go watch the whole thing. Go watch the whole thing if you don't want me to interrupt here. But what she's talking about is centering, as a mixed race person, black and white, she's centering herself. Or she says in the past she has leaned on her white side to please white people. This is interesting. This is good to hear from, because there is a difference between someone who is mixed race versus someone who's seen as Western European white. The caucasity, she calls it. I like that term. Caucasity recapper Dave Neal here. But there is a difference. There is a difference between how someone of color may be perceived through different biases in our country and in the world in general, as opposed to someone of Western European skin tone. And that's not right. That's not right at all. Now the question is going to become like do you then believe all people are this way? And also, I guess, is she more willing to receive criticism from people that aren't white? Which, again, I'm not telling her what to do or not to do. Let's keep watching.
And now I feel like, fuck you. I feel like I want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. And I just don't think that, like, a lot of y'all, like, realize the gravity, the consistency, the everywhereness of it. I'm light skinned, and it's like that. So I guess I guess all of this just really to say that I might turn my DMs off again soon, but I also just would prefer you continue to show yourself so I can block you, because I would really ultimately like this to be a space where white women do not feel comfortable and safe enough to come up in my space and disrespect me, criticize me, trigger racial trauma. I would just like this to not be a space for that. So either show yourself so I can block you, please, or just unfollow and be like, yeah, you know what? This page is not for me. Because most of the shit y'all be saying in my DMs and in my comments is shit you would never say to me in person.
She's got a point.
Because, again, you only get a sliver of who I am and in the moments I decide to share on this platform. And while those moments are authentic, it is not ever the full picture. And also, it's been a traumatic-ass fucking 2 years almost. My God. It is.
Well, I can't disagree with her there. It's been a traumatic 2 years. Look, no one has been tougher on Taylor Nolan. Well, I shouldn't say tougher, but I have exposed every avenue of the Taylor Nolan story from when her tweets came out. I very often side on forgiving people for their past. There's something about Taylor Nolan's tone that I believe comes off worse than the content. So let's talk about the content first. I don't think anyone should have the right to message you hate if you don't want them to. The internet is not a real person. I feel like we have way more psychopathic tendencies online. We don't feel the pain or any sort of feelings we would if we dealt with someone in person. You'd never talk to a bank teller, a waitress, a cashier, your spouse. You would just never talk to people the way that strangers will talk to people of influence online. And that doesn't make it right. My suggestion for Taylor, if she is listening to this, hi Taylor, how are you? Is my suggestion would be you're trying to put out a wildfire with a water gun pistol. Just don't. I wouldn't acknowledge them. And I'd also say this. Now, last week, I obviously made enemies with a ton of Christians. Now, I was raised Catholic. I said I was raised Catholic. And I criticized some Christian beliefs. Not necessarily the beliefs that Jesus wanted people to have, but, some evangelical beliefs of purity culture. Not necessarily waiting till marriage before having sex, but the idea is that your fathers and priests and ministers and all these older people would over-sexualize the youth and make you sign purity contracts and all this weird stuff. There's toxicity there in purity culture is my point. Now, this might only affect 1% of Christians, so I had to be very careful in my follow-up video to be like, look, I don't hate all Christians. I don't hate any Christians. I would probably identify myself as a true Christian, as I believe most of Jesus Christ's teachings. Be good, don't covet thy neighbor's wife, treat your neighbor like your own, and make water into White Claw. They're the basics, right? So my point being is that you have to be very specific in your word. Now, let's just throw out some random numbers are probably off, but let's say white people make up 75% of the country, and let's say probably half of those white people are women, right? So let's say a country of 350 million, we're looking at about 100 million white women here. She's probably got a problem with 350 of them. So the point being is that the worst of the spectrum of people that you dislike are the ones that feel the need to comment on your page, and that's just a tiny sliver of what's out there. Now, it's like when Jamie, who was the villain on Michelle's season of The Bachelorette, he posted some horrific comments that he received about his mom, who had a very tragic end of her life, and he was like, look at how crazy and toxic Bachelor Nation is. And he's not wrong. But that is a fraction of a percentage of humanity. It's picking and choosing the worst of the worst. So in Taylor's instance, it's letting the negative cream rise to the top when most people are probably actually happy she's living her life and showing what's going on. Now, there's going to be people that go, oh, all you do is complain and talk about this, and that's their own hurt. So, I think Taylor's trying to treat everything eye for an eye. We know that makes the whole world blind, right? We know that by treating everything eye for an eye, by saying, oh, I'm going to block all white women because X, Y, and Z is going out of my DMs. Like, I understand. It stinks. It stinks that it's out there. Unfortunately, I think you're just giving them more fuel to feel the way that they want to feel and confirm whatever biases they already have about you. And I'm not victim blaming Taylor Nolan here. Like she said, it's been a hell of a 2 years for her. Tone-wise, not what you said, but how you said it. That's important, too. If you've ever been in a fight, it's not about saying, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm really sorry about that. Really, I mean it. I'm sorry. Versus, I'm sorry, but the way that you... No. Tone's important. And she just has this way of coming off. And Taylor, again, a lot of Bachelor people, sometimes they do hear my stuff when I post stories about them. Again, advice from a stranger who has got nothing to gain from this. I think humility would be good. Not necessarily with all of your haters, but just lean more into how tough the last couple of years have been and see the people that relate to your struggle and your ability and need to move forward and to take one step at a time and to be a single woman homeowner and all these positive attributes you have going on. Breathe into that positivity and you might see some of the negativity going away. I'm not saying be toxic positivity. I think I used to possess a lot of toxic positivity in me. No, everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay. Hey, look, if it's not fine and not okay, that's fine too. On one hand, people say, oh, I hate that social media is fake. Everyone's pretending to have this perfect life. And then on another hand, she's sharing that nothing's perfect and people are going, and look, I get those people are just going to exist. My urge for you, because I think there is someone inside of you that has received a ton of trauma and projections and racism and sexism and different things in the past and in the present. And again, I know this is probably cringeworthy to hear this coming from a white guy, because I could never understand what it's like to walk through your shoes for so many different reasons. I haven't been on The Bachelorette. I haven't been a woman or bachelor, and I haven't been of mixed race. But I will say this. I think you'll find that when you pursue your next steps with humility versus trying to own people, trying to own them, and by own them I mean like slam them in the comment section. Like that's what's so important in our Instagrams, to just own people, block this, that, block them by all means. But if you continue to just live that good life, work hard and keep pushing forward and not worry about the drama that'll exist between that 1% that's trying to reach out to you and pull at you, just know that they're following you. Right? You don't need to engage back with them. And again, this is advice I have to remind myself all the time, because I deal with haters too. Not nearly to your extent. But I am actually on this side. And again, I'm not bashing Bachelor accountability. But I just sort of disagree with what is going to naturally lead to a bunch of people that are like, oh, she's the worst, she's racist, she's trying all these things. Some of those things may be true. There might be truth to some of those comments, but they said Taylor Mocha goes on a vile rant about white women. She compares their opinions to mosquito bites. She says, if you're a white woman, she does not give you the benefit of the doubt. And I guess this is the problem with Taylor Nolan clumping all white women, versus what she probably means is that the white women that come and throw her hate, So that's my thought on that. Would it be the worst, most vile rant I've heard in a long time? I mean, Bachelor Nation, you don't hear too many rants from people in the negative aspect, but I think it's very normal. I think it's very normal of Taylor to feel these feelings. And I just think the second and the moments that she decides to have some humility, not as a person that deserves it, but it's just saying, all right, fight's over. I can't beat every troll. I can't beat everyone out there that's going to feel this certain way about me, my character. All I can do moving forward is just try to either change people's opinions about me or just spread love and energy into the people that believe in me. And the more you push that way and don't feed the negativity, the less the negativity is going to show up, and also turn off your DMs in the process. They don't deserve to talk to you, and you don't need the time and bandwidth to vent at them. All right, let me know what you guys think. This might be it for me for Friday. We'll have to see if there's any more breaking news. In the meantime, thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as we push forward to 50,000 subscribers. We have a Patreon video coming out, episode tomorrow morning, patreon.com/Dave Neal, 8:30 a.m. We'll see you then, Patreon family. Bye, everybody.